Hey, welcome to Wages of Cine's 31 Days of Horror. I'm Stephen Gillum, and today I'm going to be talking about 1987's Hellraiser. Now, Hellraiser was written and directed by Clive Barker. It's based off his novella, The Hellbound Heart. And it starts off with Frank. He buys this box. Frank's kind of a deviant. He's looking for the next step in pleasure. He's going through women and all that, drinking. Nothing's doing it. He's looking for that next thing, and he hopes it's going to be in this box. So he takes it back to his home, goes up into the attic, opens it up, and literally all hell breaks loose. He is ripped apart. It is terrifying. And then he's gone. You're like, okay, cool deal. His brother, Larry, decides he's going to move into this house. I guess it's like their childhood home. So he moves there with his wife, Julia. They're having some relationship problems. I think he thinks by moving there, they're gonna kind of patch things up somehow. But as they're moving in, they're up in the attic, and Larry scratches his hand, gets a pretty nasty cut, bleeds onto the attic floor. So blood apparently brings, if you are killed by the box, wherever you're killed at, you can be brought back through blood. It happens later on in some of the other movies. So blood hits the floor, and for me, this is probably one of the creepiest scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Frank starts to reanimate. The blood starts bubbling, and everything starts forming out of the ground. It's disgusting the way it's lit, the way the way he moves. It's like a puppet or something, but it is terrifying. It is just so, ugh. And he gets to a kind of a midway form. It's kind of a skeleton with muscles. It lets out like a screech. It is something. But apparently that's not enough. He needs more blood. We find out through some flashbacks that Julia has had an affair with Frank. And then she goes up to the attic and she runs into Frank, he's now come back. And he finally, he convinces her, he's all like muscle and scary looking. He's like, it's me, I'm Frank, I'm back. She's like, oh no, but she's still in love with the guy, or into him. He's a bad guy, I guess she likes bad guys. So she says, well, I'll tell you what, I'll start luring guys back here. We'll kill them and you can come back to full form. So as she's doing that, she's going out to bars during the day, bringing people back. Larry's daughter, Christy, this is daughter from another marriage, so Julia is not her real mother. She sees all this happening. She's like, what in the world? So after Julia leaves, Christy goes up into this attic to find out what's going on. What these guys haven't been leaving that Julia's been bringing back. Up in the attic, she encounters her uncle, Frank. And she can't believe it. She goes, oh my goodness, this is terrible. And she realizes the box is important. So she gets the box from him, and she runs out, she escapes. And as she's running down the street, I think she runs until she passes out, I believe. She wakes up in a hospital. And the doctors, they're like, well, she doesn't remember what happened. They're like, maybe this will jar your memory. They put the puzzle box next to her bed. So she starts remembering, she starts playing with the puzzle box. It's another terrifying thing in the movie. Every time you see the puzzle box, it's like people always want to put their finger around it and don't do it because Cenobites are coming. So Chrissy's in the hospital and she's opened up this box, and a portal opens up on the wall. And she decides she's gonna go down and check it out. Inside there, she finds this creature. He's climbing on the walls, coming after her. She backs out of there, and the Cenobites show up. And they we're gonna take you. She's like, no, you want my uncle Frank. He escaped. They're like, that's impossible. No one ever escapes. She's like, I promise you, I will get you Frank. And they want that because they have a reputation to upkeep. So they said, if you get us Frank, then we'll let you go. Well, back at the house, Frank is up in the attic, and Julia has lured Larry up there. And Frank he's gonna take Larry to kind of complete his final form. So he gets all, he's all muscle and stuff, and he takes Larry's skin, puts it on him. So now he looks just like Larry. He's wearing the blood's all dripping off the side, the seams and stuff, his hair. Christy gets back to the house because she wants to warn her dad of what's going on. So she's talking to her dad like nothing's wrong with him. There's blood dripping everywhere around his ears. And Larry, Frank, he's like, everything's gonna be fine, everything's fine. And Christy, she finally realizes that this guy is not right. Scratches the skin, her dad's skin off of Frank. What she wants to do is she wants to get these Cenobites to take Frank back to hell. So she gets the box, gets it upstairs. Frank kind of reveals everything to her. So he's like, I escaped from hell, I'm Frank. That's when the Cenobites show up. They're back like, we needed to hear it from your mouth. Now we're taking you back. Chains all pop out. He gets pulled apart, it's disgusting. But it's awesome, so you need to check it out. They're ready to take Christy back. They're like, we're gonna take you too. And she's not having it. She figures out, close the box up, send these things back away, and she's all good. So suddenly she's with her boyfriend. Don't really recall when he popped up into the movie, but he's there. They're gonna burn the box. So they put it out there, burning it. There's this homeless guy. He showed up earlier in the movie, but you really don't know who he is. He shows up, he walks up, takes the box, and he turns into a bone dragon. Takes the box and flies off. I have no idea what that's about. In all the following sequels, they've never really gone into that, what that means. So I'd like to know if you know. Let me know. What's that little dragon thing all about? But that was the end of the movie, and I thought it was pretty awesome. There's a few hokey effects. I think Clive Barker had said that, like the effects at the end, like with the lightning, when the Cenobites are being pulled back into hell. He did that with his friend like over a weekend. They were both drunk. But considering that, I think it looks okay. And plus it was the 80s, so it didn't look too bad. Everything else though, all the practical effects were top notch. Some of the interesting things I found out about this movie is we know the Cenobite Pinhead as Pinhead, but he was never actually called that in the movie. I don't think any of them actually had any official names. He wasn't even really the lead. The only reason he seemed like to be the lead was of all the ones that were there, he was one of the ones that could actually say his lines. So like the other one, Chatterbox and Butterball, their lines were given to Doug Bradley, which made him seem more like the leader. Later on, Clive Barker said he never liked the name Pinhead, and he said his name would have been something like Priest, had he had a name. I think in the comic books too, people call him Priest. So Hellraiser has had 8 sequels. I thought part 2 was pretty cool. It continued on from where 1 left off. Christy is now in like a mental hospital, and the doctor who's in charge of this hospital has like an obsession with the Hellraiser, the boxes. He actually has like multiple boxes. But I thought it was a cool continuation of the story. Part 3 kind of went way out there. I saw it when I was like 12 years old, and there's parts that a 12-year-old's gonna love, like the Cenobites were they're new, and like they had like one had a video camera in his eye, and others like shot CDs out. But when you watch it now, you realize, wow, it's such a departure from how that first one was. So it wasn't really that good. The 4th one tried to tell like some of the origin of like where the box came from. Showed like back in like the 1700s, was a toy maker, and he built this box, and he realized what it was going to be used for, and he tried to stop it. And like years later, like this guy built the space station, and he finally, it was like his ancestor. He'd finally figured out a way to stop the Cenobites. Then 5 was, from what I read, was not really a Hellraiser movie at first, and they needed to try to market it, so they shoehorned in Pinhead in the whole Hellraiser story. And I think several of the sequels after that kind of did the same thing. 5 actually was kind of a cool story on its own, and Hellraiser and like Pinhead and the Hellraiser stuff is in there, but it could have been without that and still been kind of a cool movie. After that, I lose track of what's what. And they all kind of went really downhill, and they're straight to video. The last one didn't even have Doug Bradley as Pinhead, and from what I read on the internet, it was made just so the company wouldn't lose the rights to the movie. It was like made in 2 weeks for like $300,000, something crazy low, but it was terrible. And you kind of, after that one, you hope maybe they make a better one, but I think the first one's so good, you just kind of leave it alone. So there you have it, Hellraiser, 1987. I highly recommend you check it out. It's got some really awesome practical effects, and this box is awesome. And I'm gonna go ahead and open it up and see what it's all about.